Good morning. How are you? Good. Can I get a large iced Americano with cream and 2 Splendas? So I should explain this, okay, right? Because, hey, I have a coffee maker in the room, but there are days dragging a little bit this morning, so I guess my trick is can jumpstart my day a little bit if I get iced coffee and then just drink the whole thing. Mission accomplished. Day 11 or day 1 plus, 10 plus, I don't know. And my goal was to talk a little bit about the process and maybe what I got out of it, and see if any insights that might come up of value to other people. What I thought might end up being talking about the process, about listening, actually kind of evolved into talking about 2 big ideas. One of those is the actual music. A lot of that I covered in the first version of Behind the Scenes, where I kind of took you inside what a day looked like in the process. And what I would say there is a full-hearted endorsement and proof for me about everything Bob talks about the slow, straight, slurred, 60 beats per minute, quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, anything you're trying to learn, take your time. The idea that listening to something much, much more than you're trying to play with it is the only way to get it, at least for me, in my head before I try to get it into my fingers. I certainly don't think I could go back right now and play all 10 choruses. Even as imperfect as my videos were, I couldn't play them that well today with 0 practice. So, you know, this whole idea, like, the difference between knowledge and execution that's a deceptively large gap between those 2 concepts, and frustratingly large gap as well at times. But I certainly want to find a way to take the solo and the vocabulary and the things in there and practice them. And kind of right now, the skeleton of that plan is, you know, to spend time every day playing an F blues play along and picking fragments. You know, maybe I take a turnaround and I'll work the chords in the front half, arpeggios, freely improvised, but every time I get to that turnaround at the end, I'm gonna play that line that Eric played every single time. And I'll play 10 choruses a day, or I don't know, 10 minutes or something like that, and try to ingrain this vocabulary by using it in context. For me, at least, the double time is something that I've never been comfortable with improvising at all. And so I think trying to take some of those, see if putting them in there in the hopper pays off a dividend down the road. So that's a little bit of the music side. Dude, I'm out of half and half. This is terrible. I'm gonna have to go to the store. This isn't gonna work for me today. Crisis avoided, half and half. Don't leave home without it. So the second thing about this process, one that I didn't think was going to really come up, is that little voice inside our head and what it says and what it communicates to us and how we all deal with it. I'm so grateful for all the people that were on the journey with me, and reading your comments or getting a message and things like that really meant a lot. And it was fun to feel like I was a part of something again after so long. But a lot of the comments kind of stuck with me in a really deep way. And what I mean by that is this idea that people are dealing with those same struggles, that, you know, don't feel like I'm good enough, don't feel like I'm ever going to play as well as I want to. You know, why am I doing this? Those kind of things. Behind the scenes of, you know, trying to figure out notes and rhythms and tone and vibrato, I have a notebook that I keep with me all the time, where I just write down the things I'm thinking about or things I want to practice or little nuggets. But inside that notebook is what I got from a great friend of mine, and it's called A-list, B-list. And the A-list has to do with healthy playing and what an awesome teacher would be. Love, flow, acceptance, positive expectations, something to offer, communication, patience, gratitude, all those things. Those are in the left column. Those are the things we strive for. But in the right side column is just as important to recognize on the B list unhealthy playing or characteristics of being a bad teacher. And the things that are in the B list are the opposite of what's on the A list. So instead of love, it's fear. Instead of patience, it's impatience. Instead of self-confidence, it's self-consciousness. Instead of something to offer, it's something to prove. And so many times that when that little voice gets ramped up inside my head, criticizing what I'm doing or saying something negative, I can find where I'm stuck on that B list and just move over to the A list and find its opposite. And so that's always sitting there just in case I need a quick reference. I don't want my evaluation of how I'm playing or what I'm doing or what I need to work on to turn into a judgment about anything about who I am as a person. One of the other things on my list is a John Steinbeck quote. I printed it out bigger because I didn't think you'd be able to see the little one in here. And now that you don't have to be perfect, you can be good. You know, I quit playing the saxophone for a lot of years, and it came out of the place of always thinking it was never going to be good enough. I was never going to play like Michael Brecker, and I'm still not going to play like Michael Brecker. It wasn't until actually Bob Reynolds came out to Mountain View where I teach, and we had him out as a guest artist. It was the first time I'd ever met him. I realized that Bob did the work, and I realized that, okay, I'm never going to get to whatever mythical destination, and that's okay. That doesn't mean I shouldn't do it. Hearing him play, hearing him talk about playing, about music, about slow and steady practice, made me realize that there wasn't something wrong with me, that, I didn't have some deficit of musicianship or whatever is a reason to keep my horn away. And he came back a few years later in 2019 and just stayed with his quartet and did just a concert, no clinic. But I got to see him live and got to hear him play. And it was during that concert that it was really, really emotional for me, even just thinking about it now. But it was during that concert that I realized I still have something to say. Not something to prove, but just something to say, something to strive for, something to go after. And so it was shortly after that I joined the studio. And I can say that voice is still there. That criticism is still there. But it doesn't matter. There's no reason for me to give it any credence. Doing the thing is the most important part. And I think in some ways that is one of the things that I got out of this process. Above all, was just do the work. I can't thank the studio members enough for checking out my posts, checking out my videos, and for the comments and the support. It's just one small chapter, 10 days, and hopefully that turns into 10 more and 10 more and 10 more. I thought that this idea of making a vlog was silly because why would you want to get insight into what I'm doing? We get insight into what Bob does. He's way better than me at vlogging
and had saxophone and all of those things. And so, but that's just more resistance.